All right, get ready, because we're taking a deep dive today.
Deep dive into.
30 must-know English phrases
Yeah.
that'll help you sound more like a natural, fluent
Yeah,
speaker.
exactly.
We've got the
Your guide right here.
source material right here,
Designed for intermediate English learners.
but don't think this is going to be
Oh, no, not
some boring vocab lesson.
not at all.
We're going.
Way deeper than that.
What I find so fascinating about these phrases is that they're not just about the grammar.
Right.
They're really like the secret codes
Yeah.
to unlocking
Yeah.
smoother, more natural conversations.
I love that.
You'll be surprised how much these seemingly simple phrases can actually reveal about cultural nuances and communication styles.
It's like having a cheat sheet
Yeah.
for navigating all those tricky social situations.
Yeah,
Some of these phrases you might
Might already know.
already know, but I
Yeah.
bet you'll learn a thing or two about how to use them.
In ways you never thought of before.
Exactly. We're going to break down each phrase, looking at the subtle meanings behind them and how even a slight change in tone or context can completely change how they're perceived.
Okay, let's start with the everyday conversation category.
Right.
I'm always fascinated by how much we can pack into those seemingly simple greetings and small talk.
Yeah.
Like, how's it going?
Right.
You'd think it's just a basic question, but there's actually
It's a lot more to it.
a lot more to it.
You're absolutely right. How's it going? Is more than just an inquiry about someone's well-being. Think of it as a social lubricant,
Right.
a way to signal you're open to interaction.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, the expected response isn't a deep dive into your entire life story.
Right.
It's more about that quick reciprocal exchange, like, pretty good, thanks. How about yourself?
Yeah.
It keeps the conversation flowing and establishes a connection.
It's like a little verbal dance.
Little verbal dance, right.
Yeah. Speaking of keeping things flowing, what about when you're asked something you don't know the answer to?
Oh, yeah.
I think we've all been there. That's where a phrase like, I'm not sure, but I'll check,
Yes.
can really come in handy.
That's a great one. You're showing honesty, which builds trust,
Right.
but you're also demonstrating initiative by offering to find the information. It subtly conveys that you're reliable and resourceful, which can be super valuable in any context, not just casual conversations.
So win-win.
It is.
This next one is what I'm definitely guilty of using maybe a little too often. That's a good question.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes, I'll admit, it's just a stall tactic
Sure.
to buy myself some thinking time.
Haha. I think we've all been there. But what's interesting is that it works on multiple levels. Besides giving you a moment to gather your thoughts, it also subtly compliments the person asking the question. You're acknowledging their curiosity and making them feel heard, which can be incredibly disarming, especially in potentially tense situations.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's all about balance. Overusing it can make you seem unsure or even manipulative.
That's a great point. It's like anything else, you've got to read the room and use your judgment. Now, no conversation would be complete without a little humor. And I think we've all experienced that moment when a joke falls flat.
Oh, absolutely.
That's where, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Comes the rescue. What are your thoughts on this one?
It's such an essential tool for navigating those potentially awkward moments, especially when dealing with different cultural backgrounds where humor can be interpreted in vastly different ways. Just kidding. Acts like a reset button,
I like that.
allowing you to clarify your intentions and signal that you don't mean any harm. Plus, it can actually add a layer of authenticity to your interactions. It shows you're not afraid to be a little goofy or self-deprecating, which can make you more relatable and approachable.
Totally. It's like saying, hey, we're all human here. Let's not take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah.
And finally, to wrap up this section, we've got the classic, let's catch up soon. The perfect way to end a conversation on a high note
Yes.
and signal that you're interested in staying connected.
And it's much more than just a polite goodbye, isn't it?
Right.
It's an expression of genuine interest in continuing the relationship. You're planting the seed for future interaction, which fosters a sense of anticipation and keeps the connection alive. But, the key here is sincerity.
Yes.
It needs to come across as genuine, not just an empty platitude.
Absolutely. So even with these seemingly simple phrases, there are subtle nuances
There are,
we use to build rapport and navigate social situations.
for sure.
I don't know about you, but I'm already seeing these phrases in a whole new light.
Me too. And just wait till we get to the next category, expressing opinions. You'll be amazed how powerful these phrases can be in helping you articulate your thoughts clearly and confidently.
This is where things start to get really interesting. Now, we're not just exchanging pleasantries, we're diving into the realm of ideas and perspectives.
Exactly. And with the right phrases, you can express your opinions in a way that's engaging, respectful, and thought-provoking. Ready to dive in.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's step into the arena of opinions.
I love this section
Yeah,
because it's not just about asserting your own viewpoint.
right.
It's also about understanding
Yes.
and respecting other people's opinion,
Exactly.
even if you don't agree with them.
Yes.
And these phrases, I think,
Yeah,
really highlight that delicate balance.
exactly. You want to be clear and confident in your stance, but also open to different perspectives.
Right.
So let's start with a phrase that's simple
Yeah.
yet effective. I think that. It's like gently dipping your toes into the pool of opinions.
You're inviting others to share their thoughts, too.
You are.
Now, if you want to add a touch more formality or emphasis
Sure.
to your opinion, in my opinion, can be a good choice.
You're right. That one elevates the tone a bit. It's like saying, hey, I've given this some serious thought, and this is where I stand.
Oh.
It can be especially useful in professional settings or when you're discussing a complex topic.
Now, what about those times
Mm.
when you're just wholeheartedly on the same page with someone?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Uh-huh.
when their idea resonates with you on such a deep level that you just want to shout, yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Ah, yes.
Uh,
Those moments of perfect alignment, I couldn't agree more, is the perfect way to express that enthusiastic agreement
Yes.
and build a sense of camaraderie. You're essentially telling the other person, we're on the same wavelength here, but you know what I've noticed?
What's that?
That this phrase can sometimes be used sarcastically as well, especially among close friends. Have you ever encountered that?
Oh, totally. Like
Yeah.
if someone suggests something completely outlandish, you might say, I couldn't agree more, with a playful tone to poke a little fun at the absurdity of it.
Right.
It all comes down to context and delivery, right?
Absolutely. It's fascinating how the same phrase can take on different meanings depending on the situation. It's a reminder that language is a dynamic tool
Yes.
that we constantly adapt and mold to fit our needs. Now, of course, not every conversation is going to be a love fest of agreement. There are going to be times when you have to express disagreement.
Right.
And that can be tricky, especially if you want to maintain a harmonious relationship.
It's like walking a tightrope, isn't it?
It is.
You want to stand your ground without coming across as confrontational or dismissive of the other person's viewpoint. I think that's where a phrase like, that's not how I see it, can be really helpful.
Yes. That phrase allows you to voice your dissent in a respectful and diplomatic way. You're acknowledging the other person's perspective while also presenting your own alternative viewpoint. It keeps the conversation open and avoids shutting down the dialogue, which is crucial for healthy communication, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's all about finding that sweet spot between assertiveness and respect.
Yeah.
And to ensure everyone feels heard and valued. I love the phrase, what do you think about? It's such a simple way to invite others into the conversation and encourage a diversity of perspectives.
It's a powerful way to show that you're genuinely interested in hearing other people's thoughts and that you value their input. It creates a more collaborative and inclusive atmosphere, which can lead to richer discussions and deeper understanding.
As we're talking about these phrases,
Yeah.
I'm realizing how much they reflect cultural values,
Oh, yeah.
especially here in the West.
Absolutely.
The emphasis on individual expression, respectful disagreement,
Yeah.
and seeking multiple perspectives,
Sure.
it's all woven into the fabric of these conversational tools.
That's a brilliant observation. It's like we're not just learning phrases, we're gaining insights into the cultural norms and values that shape the way we communicate.
Right.
And that's what makes this so fascinating to me. It's like a window into the human psyche.
Okay, I'm ready to move on to something a little more practical now.
Right.
Let's talk about making plans.
Okay.
You know, that sometimes daunting task of coordinating schedules and navigating social calendars. I think these phrases can make the whole process
We do.
a lot smoother and less stressful.
Yes. This category is all about clear communication and setting expectations, which can save you from so many misunderstandings and awkward situations.
So let's say you want to hang out with someone. Where do you even begin?
Well, you could start with a simple question like, what's your schedule like?
Yeah.
It's a straightforward way to gauge their availability without being overly demanding or presumptive. It also gives them the opportunity to share any potential time constraints they might have.
You're essentially opening up a conversation about their schedule, which makes the whole process feel more collaborative and less like you're imposing on their time.
Right.
Now, let's say you found a potential window of opportunity. That's where the classic let's pencil it in comes in. What do you think is the key to using this phrase effectively?
It's all about striking that perfect balance between enthusiasm and flexibility. You're expressing your excitement about the potential plan, but you're also leaving room for adjustments if needed.
It's like saying, I'm really looking forward to this, but let's not carve it in stone just yet. It avoids creating a sense of obligation or pressure, which can be especially important in certain cultures, where
Yes.
being overly assertive can be perceived as rude.
Exactly. You're showing respect for the other person's time and acknowledging that things can change.
Right.
Now, what if you need a bit more time to confirm your availability
Yeah.
before committing to a plan? I think this is where a lot of people struggle.
It can feel awkward to say, I need to check my calendar,
Yes.
without sounding like you're not interested or you're trying to wriggle out of the commitment.
Right. And that's why a phrase like, I'll get back to you, is so valuable. It's a polite way to manage expectations and demonstrate respect for everyone's time. You're acknowledging the request and promising a thoughtful response without rushing into a maybe that you might have to back out of later.
You're essentially saying, I value your invitation and I want to make sure I can fully commit before giving you a definitive answer. It's all about clear communication and avoiding those last-minute cancellations that can be so frustrating for everyone involved.
Exactly. It's much better to be upfront and honest about your availability than to overcommit and end up disappointing people. Now, once you've sorted everything out and you're ready to confirm the plan, a simple "sounds good to me" can go a long way.
It's a classic expression of agreement and enthusiasm
Yes.
that seals the deal, so to speak.
Right.
You're signaling that you're on board and ready to roll with the plan. But, sometimes the best plans are the ones that aren't set in stone.
Right. Absolutely. Sometimes you just want to leave room for spontaneity and see where the day takes you. That's where the magic of "let's play it by ear" comes in.
This phrase embraces flexibility and adaptability,
Yes.
which can be incredibly freeing, especially in a world that often feels overscheduled and rigid. It's like saying, let's be open to possibilities and see what unfolds organically.
And this phrase has interesting cultural connotations as well. In some cultures, it might be perceived as a lack of commitment or even rudeness, while in others, it's seen as a sign of trust and a willingness to go with the flow. It's fascinating how such a simple phrase can reveal so much about cultural differences.
I've definitely learned that the hard way.
Oh, yeah.
I remember once when I was traveling in a culture where punctuality is highly valued, I casually suggested playing it by ear for a meetup,
Mm-hmm.
and it was met with some confused looks and a bit of awkwardness.
Haha, those cultural mishaps can be quite insightful, can't they? They remind us that effective communication isn't just about knowing the words, it's about understanding the cultural context in which those words are used.
That's such a key point. And speaking of cultural context, I'm curious to get your take on the next three categories: professional settings, socializing, and travel and navigation. Now, I know we can't delve into every single phrase from these sections, but I'm eager to hear which ones you think have the broadest applications beyond their specific contexts.
That's a great question. I think there are some real gems in these categories
Is
that
there?
offer valuable insights into effective communication across a variety of scenarios. Shall we explore them together?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's uncover those linguistic treasures. All right, we've covered so much ground with these essential English phrases.
I know, right?
From everyday conversations to expressing opinions to making plans. It's amazing
It is.
how much nuance and cultural understanding is packed into these
Yeah.
seemingly simple phrases.
It's like we're peeling back the layers of language
I love that.
to reveal the intricate workings of human communication.
Yes.
And now we're going to explore some phrases that are particularly versatile, those linguistic chameleons
Okay.
that can adapt to different contexts
Yeah,
and help you navigate a variety of situations with grace and confidence.
I love that analogy.
Mhm.
So let's start with the professional settings category. What phrase comes to mind when you think about navigating the complexities of the workplace?
One that immediately jumps out is, could you clarify that?
Yeah.
It's such a valuable tool for ensuring clear communication, especially in those high-stakes meetings or when dealing with complex technical jargon.
It's a much more diplomatic and professional way to say, I don't understand.
There is.
It shows that you're actively listening and genuinely trying to grasp the information rather than just zoning out or pretending you're following along.
Exactly. And it subtly shifts the responsibility to the speaker
Yes.
to articulate their thoughts more clearly,
Right.
which can be incredibly helpful in professional settings where clarity and precision are paramount.
It's like saying, hey, I want to make sure we're all on the same page here, so could you break that down for me a bit further?
Yeah.
It promotes understanding and collaboration,
Yes.
which are essential for any successful team.
It also positions you as someone who's engaged and detail-oriented, which can be a valuable asset in any workplace. Now let's shift gears to socializing. This category is all about building rapport, connecting with people on a personal level, and maybe even injecting a little humor into your interactions. What phrase comes to mind when you think about striking up a conversation and rekindling those social connections?
It's been ages.
Yo, perfect one.
It's such a classic conversation starter, especially when you bump into someone you haven't seen in a while. It instantly acknowledges the passage of time and expresses a genuine interest in catching up.
It's like you're saying, hey, I remember you, and I'm actually interested in hearing what you've been up to. It conveys warmth and a desire to reconnect, which can be so disarming, especially in those initial moments of reestablishing contact.
And it effortlessly
Yeah.
opens the door to sharing updates,
Yeah.
reminiscing about shared experiences, and maybe even planning future get-togethers.
Yeah.
It's like a little spark
Yes.
that rekindles the flame of friendship.
Yeah.
Now, for our final category, travel and navigation,
Okay.
I'm thinking about those moments when you're exploring a new place
Yeah.
and you need a little guidance. What phrase do you find yourself using in those situations?
Could you point me in the right direction?
Yeah,
It's a lifesaver, isn't it?
it is.
Such a simple phrase.
Yeah.
Yet it can unlock a wealth of information and potentially even lead to some unexpected adventures.
It's so much more than just asking for directions.
It is.
It's about acknowledging the expertise of locals
Right.
and showing a willingness to learn from their knowledge. It's like saying, hey, you know this place better than I do. I'd love to get your insights.
And it often leads to more than just directions. You might get insider tips on the best local restaurants, hidden gems that aren't in the guidebooks, or even strike up a fascinating conversation with someone who shares your passion for travel and exploration.
It's amazing how such a simple phrase can open up a world of possibilities.
I know.
So as we wrap up this deep dive
Yeah.
into these 30 must-know English phrases,
Mhm.
I'm struck by how much power they hold. It's not just about the words themselves. It's about the intentions behind them, the subtle nuances of communication,
Yes.
and the connections we forge through language.
It's about understanding that language is a dynamic and ever-evolving tool that we use to navigate the complexities of human interaction. And the beauty of it is this is just the beginning of your journey.
Exactly. Fluency is an ongoing process of learning, experimenting, and embracing those inevitable moments of linguistic awkwardness. So as we reach the end of our deep dive today, I want to leave you with this question. What phrases do you find most challenging in English conversation? And how might you apply what we've discussed today to overcome those challenges?
We encourage you to reflect on your own experiences, identify those linguistic stumbling blocks, and keep pushing yourself to expand your conversational repertoire. Remember, every interaction is an opportunity for growth and discovery.
And we have complete confidence that you'll continue to blossom on your language learning journey. Keep practicing, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep having fun with it. Until next time, happy conversing.